And this. Alright, so well, we're gonna talk about uh what our first impressions of the game were. Like, how did you feel when you first started the game? Huh?
I feel when I first started the game. I got a wave of nostalgia, and also with fucking Joel was cleaning that guitar. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be guitar plays in here, because I was like, the only music from this game comes from guitars mainly.
He was gonna strum the guitar.
Yeah, and like, I then noticed that none of them had weapons, and there was just a bunch of people in the street dead. I'm like, how the fuck did they kill them? But then afterwards, like when they ride on the horses, I noticed how beautiful the game was. I'm like, oh, this is nutty.
Yeah, I liked how the game looked at the very beginning.
Oh man, it did a good first impression on me.
Very nice.
Yeah, I liked it.
And so freaking well, so we all know Joel's death happened very soon.
Too soon.
In the game, was it? It was too soon, right? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we can all agree on that.
Well, I mean, I guess it was like the heat of the moment. They were all running away from the zombies, the infected man.
I think they should have put all the Joel and Ellie stuff at the beginning.
Like the flashbacks?
Well, we'll talk about that later, Donovan.
Put those at the beginning. Well,
well, I know. I'm just saying. We'll talk more on that later.
Yeah, but yeah, Joel, his death comes too soon. I feel like they could have like played more with it, because they say like revenge is bad, and they use Dina for that. They're saying how like Dina left Ellie, and I feel like instead of Dina leaving Ellie, it should have been Joel dying like midway through the game, or like near the end game, saying how like emphasize the fact that like, well, yeah, the revenge is really bad, because look what it did. It caused Joel to die.
Yeah.
They could have done more with Joel.
A different story.
Yeah.
So now
we
talked about that.
Yeah.
So now we'll talk about the combat. What do we think? Did it feel better than the first game, or did it feel the same as the first game?
Your opinion's done?
Yeah, it was the same, I feel like.
About the same? Yeah.
Well, I felt like the fighting was more like it was a lot like smoother. Like dodging felt a lot nicer.
Yeah.
And if you if you didn't dodge at the right time, it was like really what do you call it?
Punishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I felt dumb. I'd click it. And you would
especially with what like the
like still hit you.
Like the giant characters.
Sometimes I felt it was jank though. You would hit it, and then sometimes they would still hit you even though you dodged at the moment.
Yeah, it's like you have to like do it at the perfect moment. Cause like in higher difficulties, you have to do it extremely late. Meanwhile, in like light, you can just do it as soon as the guy just starts thinking about it. And like that also fits in with like the difficulty about this game.
Yeah. What did you do?
Like the difficulty in this game is a lot more harder than the first game.
I mean, obviously the combat you gotta learn for the other difficulties.
I feel like in some of the sections they're just like screw it, and then threw like 20 enemies on you at once.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like they actually planned it out, and in some areas we're just like, oh, let's just put in
where did you
20 different enemies.
Well, I think a lot of the weapons were meant for that. Like, Ellie got like the bow that had like the explosive arrows.
Yeah.
So those were like really good for that.
Yeah, but it just wasn't fun.
Getting more into.
You just had to waste a bunch of ammo on a bunch of guys.
What about I think a lot of the new gameplay features were kind of like they helped.
Was there
with.
even any new gameplay features?
Or you could prone.
You can prone, and it's like way more open world, way more open. And like I think like with the tandem of the fact why they just throw so many enemies at you is because they give you so many like areas where you can collect materials.
No, I think
And,
that
like,
they do
use
that
this
a lot of enemies because there's now the prone where like that you hide a lot more easily. I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, and like also with this game, it's like you can like with the prone feature, you can like entirely probably pacifist this game by just sneaking around people because most of the time it just like all you have to do is just get to one area to another. You don't have to kill people. All you gotta do is just like open a door.
I mean,
And,
we're
like,
talking about a lot about the human enemies. What about the the infected? Do they feel
Infected,
different? Did they feel different from the first game?
No, they felt the exact same.
They felt the same. I mean, you have the Shamblers which shake things up, but Shamblers are just in general just really
like,
annoying.
There's just like bullet sponge that you can't
kill, like
silently
sneak
kill.
attack. Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
When I guess it'd be hard to wrap your hand around its neck when it has like a bunch of like spores on its neck.
Yeah,
Or
if
you
it
could
had
just come around it and stab it.
in the face, that could have worked.
What
But I mean, I would have really liked if they make Shamblers deaf, so that way, like, if you kill like a clicker or like if you kill runners and clickers, you could just run around the Shamblers and they couldn't notice anything or hear anything. Because like if you look around, like everything around their neck and head is covered except for their face.
Yeah.
Well,
was that a new feature where like you could like hold?
I felt like they were just put in for bullet sponges.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I
guess
guess
like they
Yes.
knew that like sometimes the gameplay could get mundane.
I guess
and,
it
like,
was
just,
weird
like-
how like there's only one new zombie type after 4 years.
Yeah. It also just kind of doesn't make sense. Why does the Shambler exist? Like, is it a certain mutation that we have in Seattle? Does that mean like I don't know, like if you go to Canada,
Like
is
certain
there a
places
different-
have different mutations.
Yeah, like if you go to like South America, is there like a different one? Like one that's like spit shit at you or something?
I mean, I feel like that it's either like there's a certain amount of stages and you can either turn into the bloater or the shambler. I don't think they're too different. Well, they are too different, but I don't think it's like, oh, you turn into clicker and then shambler then bloater. I think it's like a tree.
Yeah, like also with like talking about like the infected, they added more stalkers, a lot more stalkers in the game, and like in that one hotel level when you played Abby,
Oh, and they didn't
they
even
really
like
played with them well.
they didn't really explain where they came from. They're just like, oh, there's new ones in there here now.
Yeah. But yeah, I do gotta love the fact that they used stalkers more instead of just using them like twice in the first game. And like they grow into the wall and like they bust out and attack you. The first time I played it, I actually kind of got spooked. Like, oh man, what the hell? Where did this nigga come from?
Well, I mean, once you get past the infected, like, were the dogs like that? I think the dogs smelling you was new, right? Or was that from the first game too?
Yeah, that's new. There were no dog enemies in the first game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was like 2 of them in the entire game.
Nowadays, I think I fought quite a lot of dogs. Or
Well,
no,
in my
maybe not.
playthrough, there were barely any dogs. There was like 2 and that was it. Oh, the Rat King.
Oh,
I felt like he was just an even bigger bullet sponge.
I mean,
He
yeah,
didn't really have any cool mechanics to it. It was just run around, dodge him, shoot.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and also like how do you say it?
Pretty boring.
Like I guess like yeah, they just wanted to have like a patient zero.
Well, I think they just made it like, oh yeah, this zombie's been here since day 1, so it's been just growing.
It was patient zero. I felt like there should have been more like cool mechanics to kill it, but no, it was just run around, dodge it, and shoot it, and that was the whole fight.
Yeah, I mean that's what like most of the enemies feel in this game. Like you just shoot at it. Well, I mean, there's not really much.
They could have done something cool, like since it's been there for so long, it has like armor or something, and you have to like do something to blow it up or something.
Yeah.
But no, it was just run around. It'll insta kill you if it touches you, and you have to shoot it until it dies.
Yeah, they could have taken a lot more like creative liberty with that.
Yeah, I guess Naughty Dog isn't too big on bosses.
Yeah,
they didn't know how to properly design them.
I mean, they had the like when you killed human enemies, the other human enemies would like shout their name when they died.
Yeah, the enemies.
Was that new, or is that from the? Is that new? Or...
Yeah, that is new. Like,
I guess it was like a sort of like a guilt trip kind
of. Yeah, it's like the enemies in this game actually feel like they had lives before you kind of took it away from them.
I guess talking about like the Rat King stuff, dude, was the combat and gameplay repetitive? Did it feel repetitive at any time?
Yeah, I mean like, that's what
in
like,
the Abby parts of the
yeah, Abby would have been like a lot more better if like they changed the way they changed the gameplay up. But I mean like I feel they also had like kind of like we're too scared to change up gameplay because like it will kind of like stain like the Last of Us feel charm.
Well, I feel like Abby. I feel like
shortened Abby sections into cutscenes.
Well, I feel like Abby was like, oh, this is our way to add like 10 more hours of gameplay to our game.
Yeah, I mean, they really they went with quantity over quality.
Well, I mean, the only difference was Abby was like, oh, she got different weapons from Ellie. Like she got a crossbow and a flamethrower.
Yeah.
I mean, and then but also in the Abby parts, like you don't really use the flamethrower a lot because like there's no use. A lot of Abby's gameplay parts are just like human enemies.
Yeah, she goes through a lot of Scar and yeah, just Scar territory really. That's the main enemy for Abby.
I mean, you don't use the flamethrower that much, and you don't really find a lot of ammo for it anyway.
Well, they promote it as you should use it for zombies, not people.
I mean, but there's only like the whole hotel
there's
part.
Literally a tip in the game that says the flamethrower is effective against zombies.
Yeah, I guess I just wasn't using it that much. Because there were just like a lot better things, like just like going around the zombies. Oh. Now, since we talked about the zombies, let's talk about, I don't know, the exploration. Was there, I think there's a lot more exploration in the game than the first one.
There's more in Ellie's story than Abby's. Abby was linear.
Because there's well, in Ellie's story there was a lot more buildings that were just open, or you could like smash the window and go into.
Yeah, and also like
because I don't think you could do that in the first game, right? You couldn't smash the windows.
No, you just.
She just uses her bare hand and boom, the window is out.
Yeah. And also like in like when you begin as Ellie, like they just give you this big open world. It's like, oh man, it's like probably that's what like most of the hours come in through for this game. It was just exploring.
Oh, there is exploration, but then there's.
Like it only happens like a lot in the beginning part of Seattle.
Yeah, well, that's the only part where it's like, oh, it's not like a linear path of buildings. It's just like, oh, it's this whole area where you find notes and you'll mark it on the map. Or it was like the only part where you could open a map and go around looking for more stuff.
And then the map doesn't come into play until at the end of the game, where that's how Abby finds out where Ellie's at.
Yeah.
So that was kind of.
Well, I think there's also the safes. Like you got a hint at opening a safe, and it had like upgrades in it and stuff.
Oh yeah. Also,
either had a lot of supplements or upgrades.
Yeah, I also like how how do you say it? you can get like the holsters and guns really early in the game.
The long holsters and the short holsters.
Yeah, and like guns early because you like explored. Yeah, the game rewards you for exploring.
Yeah, but it does on the Ellie part, but then the Abby part is just you get to a point, the upgrade is just sitting on a table and you grab it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they appropriately spread out all the materials? Like, were you constantly just able to grab them, or you just there weren't enough materials?
I mean, you had to go look for them.
Well, yeah, no, but when you look for them, was there a lot? Like,
I mean, that depends on your difficulty.
That depends on your difficulty.
Yeah, I played on moderate, and I feel like I got like almost. It felt alright, I guess I could say. I didn't get too much, but I got a little bit of too little. But it was just like not enough to make me feel OP, but not enough to make me feel defenseless.
I feel like there were a lot of the supplement upgrades that just like there just like weren't enough supplements in the world to get all of them. Oh, it's like, yeah, you can like upgrade just one of the trees all the way, but it's like there's a lot more useful skills in the later trees.
Yeah, the game forces you to go into New Game Plus in order to upgrade all your skill tree.
I mean, because like what, you go into a building and you find like 1 or 2 supplements and that's it. Maybe you'll get like a whole bottle if you're lucky, but...
Or you find an entire box of ammo, but then it gives you 1 bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just video game logic at that.
I mean, did it sometimes feel like the ammo was like weirdly placed? Because like you walk into a person's house and it's just like, oh, there's a hunting rifle bullet in their kitchen drawer. It's like, why would they have that there?
Yeah, that didn't make sense at times. Like, you go in the kitchen and it has like fucking flamethrower ammo in it. Like, what the fuck? How?
Yeah, I guess they just had it like stockpiled in their house.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about all the characters.
The characters.
Let's start with the old characters, the ones that returned from the first game.
I
don't think there's a lot actually.
One of them barely gets 2 hours in this new game. So not really much to talk about him.
Wait, there's that. Are you talking about Joel, Darwin?
The man who dies to a golf club.
Yes. Not enough time for him. Like I said, like they should have used him more and stuff. Because, like I said, like if you have Joel, such a good impact tool to like drive home like a statement. You could have really drive home the statement of the fact that like the revenge is bad. If you use Joel a lot more better.
Well, they should have had him in the game longer so his death had more impact.
Yeah, I was gonna say Joel's impact his death had a lot of impact, but it probably would have had a lot more if he died in the middle or like the end of the game.
It had an impact in the game world, like for them, but like
I mean, like
for
your
me,
feeling,
it had like such little impact.
Yeah, it's like.
I mean, it did make me cry. I'm gonna say, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But I probably would have cried a lot more if it was like at the end or like the begin or like the middle of the game.
I didn't cry. I don't know. I just didn't feel anything. I was like, really, it's too early for this.
I don't know. I'm a big baby when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, like I watched it and I'm like, Tim, this is sad, but I mean, it's just too soon. I mean, like, it's been like 6 years since the last game.
Yeah, and they just like immediately kill him off.
Yeah, it's like just jog our memory up a little bit of how nice like Joel and Ellie were of companions. Show up that like story development they had built up from the first game,
and also
and
like
use it efficiently in this game.
With like Tommy, like after Joel died and they were in the like Ellie's bedroom, Tommy didn't look like he was like sad or anything. I guess. Well, like, I think he was sad, but he just like it felt like he didn't show it because maybe that's his character.
Yeah.
Was Tommy was he in the first game? I forgot.
He was in the first game, but I mean, like he wasn't there a lot. He was just there to like show you around his whole base and stuff and say wife bad.
Alright.
He's a
I
boomer.
mean, at least he didn't come in like sobbing and crying.
Yeah.
That would have been too much.
I mean, he did come off as an asshole in the end of the game in the farm.
Then okay. Then what about Ellie? About her? How do we feel?
Ellie.
He was one of the better characters.
Yeah. I actually had a fun time, like, listening to her playing as her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
Especially in like the single or like the all Ellie only sections.
yeah, like, in the beginning parts of the game where you play as Ellie, I genuinely wanted to continue playing the game. It was, like, really fun and stuff. But then, like, when we switched to Abby and stuff, it's like, why?
Alright, let's talk about Dina. How do we feel? What is Dina?
Bad.
She was a useless character.
Pretty
She
useless.
served nothing to the story.
I feel like she was like she was trying to be Ellie from the first game, where she was just like trying to make jokes and stuff.
Yeah, like, seemed a lot more
And it's
immature
like-
and stuff.
Yeah, and then they had the whole like they didn't push it in the player's face that much about how Ellie was
They were gay.
yeah.
Yeah, gay.
But it's like a lot of people were complaining about it, but it's like, did you play the DLC? We all knew this. This isn't a surprise.
I mean, that character from the DLC was way better than freaking
Yeah.
Dina.
Yeah, because they had character development, and the fact that like they didn't show how Dina and Ellie grew up together, and how, like they didn't really show the fact that they were like
Yeah.
they had these years together.
Like they weren't
Stuff like that.
talking in Jackson.
Yeah,
I feel like Dina was literally just a character for her to be a companion with.
Wait, what about
Like, okay,
what about
yeah,
Ellie?
character that needs to be with her.
I think Ellie developed. Did her character develop a lot more in the second game than the first game, or is it like
she developed a lot
yeah?
and lost a lot. At the end of the game, she loses everything. She loses
Yeah.
Dina. She loses basically.
She
I
loses her
don't know
pinky
if yeah,
and
her
her,
pinky and her
ring
ring finger. She loses the only impactful thing Joel has. She lost the remnants of Joel. The
I
only thing
think
she
they
has
have
to remember him by is
the
the gun
guitar.
and the watch.
And the guitar.
But she loses the guitar because she can't play the guitar. It's useless to her. The guitar.
So she leaves
lessons-
it. She leaves it at the house. At the end of
Yeah,
the game.
she leaves everything in her house.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I hate how they pulled the "I'm pregnant" card with Dina.
Oh yeah.
Like really,
Yeah, it's kind of
Yes.
like.
I mean, I don't think Dina's character developed at all. It was just like, yep, I'm here, and then I'm just. They're like, we can't develop this character. We'll just leave her in the theater, and we'll make her
Yeah.
pregnant.
when she was there, she just made dumb jokes, and she was just kind of annoying overall.
Yeah.
All right, what about let's talk about Jesse. You have a lot of. I thought he was cool. I thought he was a cool character.
Yeah, he was actually a character that made me laugh, and he was pretty
Yeah,
cool
but
and chill.
he barely said anything. He was barely in the story.
Oh,
And like when he
He was
dies,
there at like
everyone-
the beginning, and then he shows up to save you, and then he sits in the theater until he dies.
yeah.
Yeah, but his death didn't really seem to make everyone like sad or anything. It's just like he died, and then the next day everyone like forgot about him.
Yeah, it was just like really abrupt. It's like, whoa, he just got shot in the head, and then
Yeah.
it gets cut short by you playing as Abby.
Yeah, it's just like, yep, Abby. It's kind of
I'm
just
like, yeah, like this game would like.
And I think the better characters were Nora, I think was her name, and the Lev, the little kid.
No, it was
The two scars.
No, Nora was the two scars. There were characters that actually had character development. and
I'm pretty
you
sure they
enjoyed.
had like some of the best, besides Ellie.
Yeah.
But 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
it's
what,
that like
Lev like
that's
broke
the
the
only-
rules.
yeah, like and also the fact that Lev is a girl as well is kind of surprising me.
Wait, what? Lev's not a girl. It's like
Lev is a girl.
Trans, bro.
Lev is a girl,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah. You didn't realize that?
No, I didn't. I thought it was a guy
No,
the whole time.
No, yeah, Lev was or Lily, whatever.
Oh.
Just call it Lev. was destined to marry one of the elders, but she wanted to be a warrior, just like her sister.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Ah, fuck it, I'm gonna shave my head." Yeah.
I guess, and then Nora, what? She got her arm. She got like a
Yeah,
disease in her arm.
her name is Nora. Nora's the black woman you kill with the fucking
Oh,
pipe.
I keep
So-
forgetting the girl that's Yar.
Yara, yeah.
I
Yaga.
forgot.
Vines, Yaga. But
Wait, what? What was the character's name who raised Ellie from the first game?
Joel?
No, the black woman that gave her to Joel.
Oh,
She wasn't in the game. She like disappeared, I guess.
because she
did she?
fucking got shot by Joel.
Oh yeah, I forgot she died.
Yeah, she got killed by
Then
Joel.
She was in the flashback cutscene, you dummy.
Yeah.
I mean, and then like after you kill what's her name? The other pregnant lady and Owen.
Mel.
Yeah.
Mel, yeah.
They have the whole section where it's like, oh, you're in the stadium, and you basically learn that it's like, oh, they make Mel go on missions even though she's pregnant and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, it's kind of her own fault.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, but-
like Owen's death, like all the characters that Ellie kills are their own faults if you really think about it. Like, especially Owen
really-
and Mel's,
It's
because
really Abby's fault.
yeah, but yeah, Abby's fault.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Ellie had the same mentality as Abby. I don't want to kill any one of you guys. I just want to kill the guy who killed my fucking dad.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, they
It's
made it
kinda
hard
Abby's fault that all her friends died.
for her. It is like, but here, okay, but like,
Well, they try and
I
make
don't know
you.
if it's-
They may try and make you feel like Abby is like an actual good person from the
No.
stadium place, the
nah,
stadium mission.
she's not.
Well, she's not, but they try and make you feel like, oh, she's actually caring about other people and stuff. Because
Yeah,
what, Manny gets
doesn't-
shot in the head from Tommy, and then she like totally forgets about him, because she goes to cover.
Yeah.
Or I guess there's a lot of moments where they try and make Abby feel like a good person, but then she's actually
Are we
not.
talking about Abby now?
Oh, I thought.
Yeah,
we were.
she's yet. I mean, we're talking about characters, so might as well talk about
I
like
mean,
the.
you want me
thorns
to,
and-
like announce it? You're like, okay, we're gonna talk about this person now.
No, I don't know.
Abby.
Well, it kind
is
of just happened
the
naturally
worst
that I was talking.
character in the whole game.
Abby's experience as playing her is
She's
just
the worst
part of
character.
this game.
Like how she acts, she sucks. The parts that you play as her are the worst in the entire game. They go on
Yeah.
for too long,
Yeah.
and the whole
And-
game
oh,
could
and
really go
also-
without the Abby parts.
Like most of the Abby parts are just like fleshed out with just non-combat. It's just character development from the scars. And
They could have just explained Abby's character in cutscenes and not make you play as her the entire time.
Yeah.
I feel like her gameplay sections were way too long and boring.
And
Yeah.
also like Ellie, like because you play as Ellie first, and then like you go all the way back to day
I mean,
one.
I don't like the part where it's like you play as Abby and you're in the theater, but then like Ellie now is acting like a dumb AI, and she like reacts to bottles being thrown, even though she's way
Yeah.
smarter than that. So that was kind of like
Yeah.
just so you could like sneak up behind her. I don't know, I didn't really like
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah, I mean, like they almost had a boss fight going there. I
Yeah.
mean, it
But
just
then
goes
like
shows
they,
the fact, like
they
it
like try and
sucks.
they try and guilt you with the Abby part. And they're like, hey, remember that person you killed as Ellie 6 hours ago? Well, look, here's them being all nice and jolly.
with them.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like, oh my
guess what?
god. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my
well-
god, really?
Yeah, well, guess what? Ellie had such a fun fucking like.
Well, I feel
Was
like
it
all the character development was placed in the wrong sections. It's like, oh yeah, you get this flashback like 10 hours into the game about Ellie and Joel.
Abby's story was dumb. It was like, so it was like flashback, and then like you would have a flashback in the middle of that flashback,
Yeah, it's kind
and then another flashback with that flashback. It's like, what is going on and why?
Yeah, you went back like 4 years. You saved a zebra, and then like 3 years.
Yeah, like
You
4
find
years
an
and 3
aquarium.
years and like a month earlier. It's like, what is going on and why?
Yeah, it's like the Saw series. It's very confusing to grasp, you know. But
Like,
I
except
feel like
unlike
I
the
feel
Saw
like they
series,
completed all the Ellie parts and they just like added the Abby parts as
They
like, oh
rushed
yeah,
it.
this is
Like,
another
that
villain
that
character.
zebra part with her could have been in a cutscene. That could have just been a cutscene.
yeah.
And then all those times where you have to like run to the door as young Abby, that could have been cutscenes.
Yeah, what do you do? Like,
They could have cut down Abby's parts a lot more.
Yeah.
Her parts just dragged on for so long, and it was so boring.
Well,
I didn't wanna play as much.
they put like as many hours as Ellie because like it's like, oh, now this is Abby's a really important character to Ellie's story. It's like, what? You're just gonna throw this new character that we have to play as for like 10 hours?
I mean, they're trying to make you feel bad for trying to go after Abby, but then it doesn't at all. All the characters she's friends with are assholes. It's kind of their faults that they're dead.
Yeah.
It's Abby's fault because she dragged them there, and they were all there and wanted Joel to die. So it's Abby's fault that all her friends are dead.
Yeah. I wanted to like talk about how like, or is it too soon to talk about like the whole plot of Revenge Bad?
I mean, that's the whole
We'll talk about that later.
thing of the game.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let's get off characters for a second.
So the whole moral is Abby's a garbage, poo-poo, dumb character.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the environments of the game. I think they're
man,
probably some of the best
Yeah.
best things that the game had to offer.
Yeah, they were so fucking.
Like the
great.
very beginning of the game, you have like the dawn or the sun like rising as you're riding the horse. And it's like, oh, this game is
the
amazing.
sun was setting. Yeah, the sun
Some
was
of it,
setting.
I think some of the environment was kind of ruined by the film grain a little bit, but if you didn't pay attention to the film grain, I think it was
I
super
didn't even
beautiful.
So much.
I didn't notice film green.
Yeah,
Probably because
see,
you have an HDR TV, dog, and yours can
Maybe
handle
that
it.
was just your TV.
I know it's not because my TV I can't turn on HDR, Donovan.
Well, I couldn't even turn on HDR.
Well, I think it's just it might just be the TV because when in the gameplay, there was no film grain, so it might just be the TV. But
yeah, like the environments, of course, it's like with the classic Last of Us, everything's overgrown. It feels very.
I think it was a
urban
lot. I think it was a lot nicer than the first game. Well, just not
Yeah,
because,
of
not
course,
just
the
because of the
console
graphics upgrade,
upgraded.
but I think it's just like the way they placed everything was just amazing. Like some of the underground sections where you're like, or like the very dark sections where you just have like your flashlight on. It's very like, you get a very intense feeling.
Yeah, like most people don't like remember like such like a deep survival horror aspect of The Last of Us, and this game really does capture it, especially when like they introduce the Shamblers.
And I think they really nailed the atmosphere.
Oh yes, they definitely did.
Because
And,
what
like-
they had the moment where you go up to an upgrade bench and then someone attacks you while you're using the upgrade bench.
Oh yeah,
And then
I
you're just
remember
like, what the what is
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, I remember like playing through it, like my second playthrough,
Mhm.
because I'm trying to get the platinum. Like I remember, oh yeah, I remember this part. And like what's good about this game is like every time you get jumped, you can stop that from happening. All you gotta do is just have trip mines or something like that. Like
Also,
I put down 2 trip mines, and it like I put one down in the front in the door where they come in through. It kills the guy that usually rushes you, and then all the 3 other people, I put one down for them, and it kills all of them. I love that part of the
Well,
game.
I
like,
think
how,
they
like,
add a lot of atmosphere when like your flashlight turns off, and you have to like shake your controller on your hand.
oh, yeah,
like
that
that-
and stuff.
You're like in a dark part, and then your flashlight just turns off. And then
Yeah.
I think that
Especially in those subway sections
yeah.
and stuff. And I also feel like they got like the Seattle feel down. It all feels pretty fucking miserable to live there. It's raining all the fucking time and shit.
Yeah.
Everything so overflooded as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally
they
you
put
have to
it
you have to go by boat to get to the space needle.
Yeah, space.
You don't even go on the space needle, go near it.
Well, yeah, but
You
it's
kind of see
there.
it in the distance.
Well, I mean, it's cool when you see it because it's just like shrouded in fog.
Yeah,
and
this
then
game
it gets ruined by you having to play as Abby.
I just want to go back to the characters and how Dina reacted to Ellie not be able to get infected.
The worst, stupidest thing I've ever seen.
It was really it was really overplayed.
Yeah.
Like why she was so like it was so weird.
Yeah, well I thought that'd be a good thing because it's like, oh yeah, Ellie can't die now, can't die.
Yeah, but then she starts like crying and something. Like what the fuck? Why?
Yeah, it's
like this is a good thing, no? And like,
I mean, I guess they wanted. I guess they wanted to make it like, oh, if Dina gets bit, she'll turn, but Ellie can't. It was like sad. But I guess like.
To me, it was just her overreacting. It was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why are you reacting this way?
Yeah, you should really be happy and overhyping. Like that's just not part of your character that they quote unquote built up throughout this whole story.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like the players already knew that Ellie is not. Is immune anyway, so it's like I don't think people playing the first game reacted like this. Like, what the fuck? Joel didn't do it. Or
yeah,
like,
because he didn't believe it at first. I mean, he was forced to believe. He saw it firsthand. Like, Tess got bit.
Yeah.
And like.
Ellie told her before, but that was in the dumb, funny weed scene.
Oh, that scene was dumb. I really think it was Dina's fault for kind of like maybe Joel dying because it's like, oh, we could have been out patrolling instead of doing weed in the basement of Eugene's place.
Yeah. Also, when Dina says we can share a mask, how would that even work? Yeah. If they constantly switch it between you, like what?
I guess like they'll take off the mask, hold their breath for a second or something. That part was kind of fucking stupid and stuff.
I think the going back to like the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere of the giant crane bridges that the Scars used was like a really good atmosphere.
Yeah, that part. That Abby part was actually pretty good.
Because like all the wood, they're using wood and not like metal or something, so it's like it looks a lot like, oh, if you take one wrong step and the wood breaks, you're like dead.
Well, I mean, when you were like balancing on top, if you like messed up, Abby would literally like jump. She would like leap off, like not even accidentally fall. She would like leap off to the side. I was like, what the hell? It didn't look natural, like.
Like she wanted to die, dude.
When you were balancing and you never fell off once.
I did fall off once, and I saw her like just jump off.
Yeah. I like how
like, it didn't look natural. Like it didn't look like, oh, she fell off and died. She like literally leaped off to the side when you fell off. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, like,
what was that?
The Last of Us has always been good with like death scenes where it's like, oh, it's not like a long death screen and it says like continue or restart. It's just like, oh, you died, then it restarts your checkpoint. Like, it's very fast.
Yeah, you saw your character die brutally, and then
like you jump in the water, hit your head on a rock, and then that's it. You go back to your checkpoint.
Yeah, it's pretty swift.
Or like when you get eaten by a clicker or something.
Yeah, it helps out. Like it knows that sometimes gamers will like kind of get angry. It's like, come on, I just want to do this shit fast.
Do you feel like the face animations when the characters were taking down enemies was kind of weird a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of jank.
They seem like they were trying. They're trying way too hard to like kill someone.
Yeah.
They're like squinting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, both of the, like Abby and Ellie's faces look weird when they're doing it. They like don't look like the same character when they're doing it.
And also, yeah, have you noticed like the fact that they only look in one direction every damn fucking time they fucking kill someone?
Yeah.
That part was kind of weird to me.
I think so I think we skimmed over it a little bit. I think we'll talk about the bad now. Like a lot of the bad parts.
One of the bad things in my opinion was like
Abby's part of the game.
Yeah, like
we
Abby's
kind of
part,
skimmed over that, but we can talk about it a lot more.
Yeah, but like they extended the game by using Abby, of course, but they extended the game more than they needed to because they couldn't like change the gameplay up. I guess
Abby's
it just
part
felt the
felt
same.
longer than Ellie's, and that's why it was so goddamn boring.
Yeah, I felt like they were trying to put a villain story into one game instead of like being like, oh, you learn about the villain in the next game or maybe in a DLC. Like Abby's part could have been a whole DLC. If we're being honest.
Yeah, it definitely could have been.
Because they can make a lot of characters like deals. They can make Tommy's, like how we got all the way to the, what is it, the not the pier, the boat place, and he was just sniping.
Aquarium?
Yeah.
And they like, Abby killed Joel, and that's when I was just like, okay, I don't care about this character at all, and I hope they die. And when you're playing it, I'm just like, oh, I don't care about any of these characters or like her, because you're just trying to make her seem like a good person. That's just really not.
Because I always hear around like, oh, the story's not as good as the first game because it's like a revenge bad or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like, I guess, but it's like.
When the way they try and like make you feel guilty because
I mean, I understand what everyone's saying because there's a lot of expectations from the first game.
Yeah, it's like this game is good, but it's like I guess people overhype themselves. It's not gonna be as good as the first game. Because the first game is just
also
the sequels are never as
like,
good as the first.
They should have just put like the flashbacks in order. Like I don't understand why the flashbacks and the different times were so scattered throughout the entire game. It's like it's at the beginning they talk about, oh, you know, last night when we kissed, and then you don't get to see what actually happened there until like the very end of the game.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? Why is this here now? Like, if they put if they just like put it in order, I feel like the story would have felt a lot better and certain deaths would have hit you a lot harder, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was like, oh, you play as Ellie, you go through this whole ordeal, and then it's like next you're just sniping zombies. It's like, what?
Yeah, I mean, that whole part.
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, oh, it's the lead up to Ellie fighting with Joe about the truth of why he took her out of the hospital.
That's why they should have put stuff in order, because it's been like, oh, you see them doing stuff out and building their relationship, and then you see when Ellie goes to the hospital and discovers it and then argues to Joel, and then that should have been where the start of the game should have ended up.
I mean, I guess it was
like
kind of a weird...
The beginning of the game should have been all the flashbacks with Ellie and Joel.
Yeah, really.
And then like halfway through, that's when Joel dies, and then the death would have hit me a lot more, but since they did it so early, I just kind of felt nothing.
And I guess it's kind of a weird how it's like, oh, Jerry was the only surgeon in the world, apparently. So it's like,
like that sounds more hard to believe, like, than there's only you that is only immune for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fucking surgeons around the fucking world.
I mean, yeah, because we've only explored it. We're only in Seattle. There's like we don't know what's going on in the whole world right now.
Yeah, it's just the West Coast, really.
I mean, I guess it's like if Ellie's, I mean, there has to be other immune people, right? Because like, there's no way it can't just be her.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of like albinism, like fucking turn albino. Yeah, it's rare, but I mean, it's possible.
I mean, there's a lot of like, oh, it's kind of just bad, but it's like there's a lot more they can do with the whole world of The Last of Us in general, not just focusing on Ellie. But I mean, I just all the bad parts had to have to do with Abby. Like, I don't think if Abby didn't exist in the story, it would have been probably a lot better of a story.
I mean, she could exist, but like. They should have just not have you play as her at all. All that gameplay of her was just so unnecessary.
Yeah, it was like also how the fact that like touching on the Abby character, on like how she went out and got revenge, but she didn't lose anything. Meanwhile, like Ellie lost everything just because she went after fucking Abby.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Abby had nothing to do with the first game. It's just like, oh yeah, Abby is the daughter of the surgeon, so now she wants revenge on Joel.
Yeah, but I mean, like, she shouldn't have gotten revenge in the first place. Well,
I mean, I'm just saying, Ellie had a lot more reason to kill Abby than Abby had to kill Joel.
Yeah, I mean, like, then again, like that whole surgery thing. Everyone's always debating if it was actually true. Maybe Ellie would have been the cure. Maybe
well, I mean, it might have been. Well, it might have been like the dying lie where it's like, oh, we have all the stuff we need, but we haven't found anything in like maybe a few years or
yeah,
1 year.
Like, what if it did kill Ellie, but then it didn't produce a cure?
Yeah, like that's what everyone. Yeah, that's what like people were debating. Like,
oh, there's a lot of bad fighting over the internet about that kind of stuff.
Well, so where's like, if they made a cure, how would it like work? Wouldn't you have to like give it to yourself right after you got bit? Like, what are you gonna like inject into a clicker and they just turn back into a normal person? Like, I don't think.
Well, I think they would have to kill all the infected, but then it's like a vaccine, kind of like a. I don't think it would be like maybe like Antizin from Dying Light, where it's like, oh, you're temporarily safe until you get bitten, or if you're bitten, you have to have it.
But then like.
But when would you, if there was a cure, when would you have to get it in you? Because like,
it could be like a vaccine where you don't have to have it for a few years.
Well, isn't it like if you inhale the spores, don't you just like instantly die and turn into a zombie?
Or no, it gets into your body and it starts like deteriorating your body, I'm pretty sure, from the inside.
Yeah, but then how long do you have until you turn into a zombie?
Probably like an hour.
Well, I mean, we saw Nora go into the spores and she didn't. I don't know. She died before she turned, so.
Yeah, but I mean, like she looked fucked up. Like she was in the spores for like
what?
It was like
it was like 5 minutes, probably.
Yeah.
Of chasing.
So like, even if there was a cure, like, it would have to be like you would have to get it delivered like instantaneously to you.
Fuck.
Yeah. No. Alright, so I think we'll go past that. I think we're now.
Yo, guys, I have to clean this shit up. I have to go.
Okay, well, I started with the recording. Okay.
Tell us what to talk about when we say the word.
I mean, now we're talking about personal feelings, section 8. Feelings towards the characters. Like, and how they play the parts.
I love. I mean, I loved how Ellie progressively, like near the end, she just says, "Fuck you, Dina." She realized how shitty of a character Dina was and decided to leave. And still wanted to go for.
Dina left Ellie because of what she decided to do.
I don't know why she.
Why did she leave the house? Where did she even go, dude?
I don't know.
Away from Ellie because she's like, you prioritize this bitch over me.
You went to a place that you can't sleep over this person who killed someone you knew. Well, I'm gonna leave you now.
Yeah, I mean,
with our child.
With Dina, like, you have to understand, like, PTSD is like a horrible thing. And she just didn't accept the fact that Ellie isn't like her and, like, didn't want to fucking... She can't cope with it. Especially in this post-apocalyptic world, she can't have, like, rehab or anything like that. That's why it's kind of like she couldn't accept it. It's like, bitch, she needs to at least come at mentally.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ignore what Donovan is doing right now. And talk about like I feel like what's her name? Not her. I don't think I think Tommy was like trying to. He was a good like and like a good like the opposite side of Dina, like a good opposite character.
Yeah, a polar opposite of her. Yeah, I like that shit a lot.
Because Joel was Tommy's brother, so he's probably also like, yeah, you need to do something about the person who killed him. Dina just didn't understand that.
And also, like, how do you say it? I like how Tommy got so fucking pissed about, like, how Ellie didn't want to go back for, how do you say it? For Abby.
Well, I knew that Dina and Tommy are, like, they don't like each other very much.
Yeah.
Also, there's also Maria that helped out with Ellie, trying to get revenge.
You know what are like what character? I forgot what the Asian guy's name.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. I kind of liked him for how he was actually kind of a cool character. Too bad that he like was he like in 2 missions or like 1 or something?
Oh, he was like I think he was in like 2, where he was your companion for a while.
He was like in none.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of sucked how like he
just abruptly died.
Yeah. I went like, oh fuck, he died, and then like I just forgot about him because it was
and then everyone just forgot about him.
Yeah.
Alright, now let's go over to more story. Let's talk about like the twists and stuff that they put in, like the pacing of the game. How do we feel about that?
I mean, it was pretty kind of stupid how they put like the fact that like Ellie, like they put the cutscene where Ellie's like, oh, I'll try to forgive you for what you did at like the last goddamn cutscene you fucking see in the game. I don't get that shit. I really wish like they would have had it like structured better, so like the past is important.
Well, I feel like would have made it better. Well, I feel like with Dina, like figuring out that Ellie is immune was kind of like they tried to make it like a twist on Dina, but then it's like she kind of overreacted about it, so it wasn't really a twist to her.
Retarded.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
He's like, oh no, you can't die, but I'm gonna die if I get bitten. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, but it's still like that reaction's still kind of stupid. And I really wish that like I really thought Dina was gonna go like, yo, Pog. I said like, no fucking way, you're immune. Instead of just fucking crying about it, it's like I'm pregnant.
I mean, they also pulled like it was like the first time they fought, Abby and Ellie fought. It was like, or Ellie was like, Dina has nothing to do with it. She's pregnant, and then Abby was like, you brought her into this, and then they did that at the end too. With the Lev in the boat.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It's kind of like it's kind of like I got you, nigga. You said this to me, I'm gonna get you back. Type of ordeal. It's kind of like it loses all its weight because Ellie doesn't kill fucking Abby. I'm kind of like well whatever, I guess.
I think the like. How Abby was being tracked was a good pace. It didn't take like forever.
Yeah.
It was like, they have these zone things, and there's like this main one.
Yeah, like they could have like the whole cast of characters could have done a better job at tracking down Abby and stuff like that. Like if you realize that Tommy would have like come with them and like how do you say it, like. If like Dina and Ellie with Jesse would go out to search for the people, and then we just bring him back to a base and Tommy would interrogate him and shit like that, that would have been like better and save a lot of time and stuff like that. Always keeping tabs and stuff because like I remember that one part where like you were introduced to the scars and like that one WLF they're gonna kill. He just automatically just says, "Hey man, I got information for you." And shit. I feel like it wouldn't take that much to talk, except for that one black woman. I forgot her name was.
Nora?
Yeah, Nora. But she still talked to him, but it took a long time to, I guess, beat her with a fucking pipe.
When they also like made it like ominous how Ellie made Nora tell her. It was like, oh, it was probably like something even worse than just like beating her up or something.
It's up to the player to figure that out, because when Ellie goes back, she's like fucking shivering. She's shivering in her timbers, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, like when Ellie kills somebody, she's like scarred. But when Abby kills someone, there's just no emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like says something
But
afterwards.
they try and make you guilt for Abby.
Yeah.
You know, she's still a bad character.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we talked about that. Let's talk about all the like the flashback sections.
They're pretty good. They're
they
pretty good.
They were good, but
because they
ruined
had
by them being out of order.
I think it was they were good because they had like the younger version of Ellie that like made the jokes and stuff.
Yeah, and like it showed more of the past, and that I built up how Ellie found out that Joel was fucking lying and doomed humanity almost.
Yeah, but it would have been better if it was like all of that and then Joel's death, instead of those parts being after that.
I feel like people would have like accepted the story a lot more if the flashbacks were like the very beginning part of the game.
And also, like, I think like most people are fine with Joel dying. I don't mind Joel. It still sucks though, but I mean, if Joel dies, it better be used for good, because I mean, using it as such a good, strong character you built up from the first game.
When there's a lot of people that are saying like, oh, the flashbacks were like the story of the flashbacks was better than the actual story, you know, as a whole.
Yeah, because it showed the bonding that they had from the first game, the character development and shit.
It's just a little odd how they placed all the flashbacks. And also talking about flashbacks, the whole Abby section was technically just a giant flashback, like a 5-10 hour flashback.
Well, the way they structured it was like you had a flashback, and in the middle of that you would have another flashback, and you would have it was flashbacks in the middle of flashbacks.
Not good. In the flashbacks, they're like, oh yeah, before Abby got to the theater, she was like she was trying to be a better person than like what's his name, Isaac. That man.
She's still a bad character.
But because it was like, oh, she's helping these scars that her people hate, but they saved her life. And it's like, oh, she's repaying back.
It's kind of like racism in a way. Like those, like they're just practicing religion. It's just the religion part. They don't actually want to kill wolves or something like that up until that point where they were.
Well, it wasn't the scars. It was the freaking what? Not the WLF. Is Abby part of the WLF?
Yes.
Is that what those people were?
Yeah.
Well, it said Abby says that they shot at little kids because the little kids like attacked them, and that broke like a truce that they had.
Yeah, like
so it's like after that you're like, oh, I don't care about the WLF anymore.
It's like, dude, if you get attacked by kids, you're not much of a fucking, and like, if you attack, you're like the police nowadays. Like, what the fuck, dude? Why the fuck do you feel so threatened about little kids?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the adults were afraid of the little kids.
Yeah, it's kind of
like they're vicious kids, bro. Vicious little kids.
I mean, it was like, going back to like the feelings and how that section played out. I don't think the whole Abby section was necessary to like help the plot of the game.
It just
felt that I think it felt more like filler a bit.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, you were playing this game and now you're playing an entirely separate game where you have to restart your skills and your weapon upgrades.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid. If I'm real with you.
Yeah, a little bit. Alright, so now we're gonna finish things off with our final thoughts and our overall feelings of the game as a whole. Like, was it a better sequel, or I mean, was it a good sequel from the first game?
It could have been.
Well, I think I think it is, but I think there's a lot of
Well, I'm gonna say
story
it's like whatever
story points that make no sense, or like
well, most people say the gameplay and other stuff was good, but the story was not good at all.
Yeah,
It was
most of that stuff
all over
good.
the place.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's just all over the place and stuff like that. It's not very too consistent, and also like that whole Abby part is what turned most people off too.
I think some of the characters were just like not good characters. It's like Dina. It's just like, oh, I think that's just she's trying to just be like an Ellie from the first game.
I think she was literally just there to be like a companion for Ellie.
But
or
yeah,
to be like the love interest. That just wasn't like a good love interest.
Yeah, because like I was saying, like they could have done so much better with these characters they were given. They have good.
Because at the end, it was like right before Ellie went to go find Abby. It was like, you really don't understand how much Joel meant to Ellie. You're just gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be sad if you leave, and I'm not gonna be with you anymore. And you're just like, really? Come on, seriously?
Yeah, like what I wanted to happen was, like, since they were looking for Joel, what they could have done was like have the WLF, the whole IP group, find Ellie, kill, or like if maybe Ellie will be with a squad or something, you know, like a whole ass squad, like maybe Jesse included, and they just kill the whole damn fucking squad, and they leave her because she's immune and shit like that. It's like, oh, we might have used her later. Just say her for right now. And then, like they find her, and then she wants to get revenge for killing all her fucking friends and her love interest, Dina. And I feel like Dina would have had much more impact if she would have died and not stayed with Ellie. And then Joel and Ellie just go off on their adventures, and maybe Joel would die. And then at that point, Joel would like have served a better purpose in this game.
Well, I feel like it was kind of weird how they didn't address that. They found Joel and they didn't think that Ellie would come. Like when they like had her locked on the ground, they didn't seem to like recognize her. It was like, oh, it's just a person who was part of Joel's whatever squad.
Well, they were like,
they had their suspicions.
She had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I mean, like, no, it's just like they had their suspicions because, like, when they get to Nora, she's like, wow, it really is you. It's like they did have their assumptions about it, but weren't sure about it.
Well, I mean, they would think that you would think that they would at least have like, if they found Joel, then they would find Ellie. Or I guess it's like they didn't even ask Joel where Ellie was. They just wanted Abby just wanted to kill Joel, and that was it. And then they didn't seem to want to care about Ellie.
Yeah, and like that's another point I want to bring up. Like, Abby goes for revenge, but like it's just pure revenge, nothing else. She just wants Joel to justice, bringing him to justice. But then like, fucking, how do I put this? Fucking, also does Ellie, but I mean like nothing bad happens to.
Well, because there's a lot of people talking like, oh, Joel should have died. He had it coming, but kind of it just happened too soon.
Too soon.
And then everyone's like, what the hell? We have to go through this whole game knowing Joel was dead at the very beginning.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. They really wasted it and stuff. That's not one of the pacing of the game. Like the first half would be the flashbacks and the build-up, like friendship with Ellie and Dina. Just remove the whole Abby part and just have that friendship build, and then they get killed. Joel and Ellie go off on their adventures. Joel dies, and then Ellie does, and then like Ellie either kills or doesn't kill Abby. Where the fuck? That would have been way more better.
Or I feel like they just added the Abby part just to be like, oh, Abby now has a companion that she cares about, and it's like, oh, if Ellie kills Abby, then Lev is gonna be all alone. And then the Lev will try and get revenge, and it's like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's technically what Abby did. Like, like Ellie had no one else in her like in her life that mattered as much as Joel. Even when she found out that like he doomed humanity, mate. Basically, that like fucking, he still shows care and affection towards them. Like, yeah, I'll forgive you. I'll try to forgive you. He does make the attempt.
I feel like they added the Abby part just to like have a lot more gameplay parts in the game. Like, oh yeah, now you're fighting this group and
stuff. Yeah.
well, because like I feel like the stealth gameplay was a lot harder in this game than the first game.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that it's kind of harder.
Because it's like if you're crouching, then but the people will still like if you're walking up behind them crouched, you'll start getting like that radius sound, and it's like kind of like.
Yeah, but
I mean, the proning did help, but it's like, oh, they can see you if they walk close to you too. But that makes sense. But again, sometimes it just makes the game, like the stealth gameplay, a lot harder.
Yeah, and also like Abby, you only face one enemy type, like one enemy group, and that shit's fucking retarded. Why? Only scars. That shit gets boring after like 3 hours. Come on, man. I want some variety too. Well, the WLF like enemies didn't have variety either. Like, they just had one guy, like the dog, and just normal humans.
I feel like the
dog with a gun.
It's like, oh, Ellie has her switchblade, but it's like, oh, only Abby can only stealth kill like the infected if you craft a certain thing.
Yeah, they had. It looks like they had the like if you could play as Joel already set up, but I mean they just said fuck it, Abby.
I feel like maybe like that whole like they could have like put the flashbacks in the beginning and then like go through Ellie, and then when Joel dies you play a whole like where Abby's part worth of Joel like within those 4 years.
Yeah.
And then they introduce like Abby through like a small like maybe cutscene or a few cutscenes or something. Because when it's like, oh, you just the first part of Abby's, you go through like a warehouse trying to like you're trying to go to what was that place called?
The base, the hotel.
Yeah.
The hotel. Main base. Fob.
The Fob.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I also feel like Abby only knew about Owen and Mel's death. Because that's the only two people she saw die. She didn't see Nora die, the other two people.
Yeah. Honestly, if like she figured out that like all of her other friends died, she probably would have killed Ellie from her. Because like she technically killed 3. She only saw that she killed 3 people. The little kid, the fetus, Nora, fucking Mel, and Owen. Oh, I'm fucking raising bees here, nigga. Stop.
Jesus Christ, I didn't want to be this much.
Well, fucking nigga, stop being jealous.
Well, okay, so I think my overall review of the game is like there was a lot of parts that were good, but some of it was wrong in the wrong order, and there could have been a lot more like emphasis on Joel and like how Abby came to. I mean, because I feel like they sort of added just Abby for this sequel, because there was nothing about the surgeon having a daughter in the first game. At least I don't think.
Well, because like that also shows that like Joel was really a murderer. He just went on senseless killing, and in that last mission in the first game, he just killed everyone for no reason.
Well, because they were attacking him. Because he stole Ellie.
I mean, like, do you think that the wimpy ass fucking surgeon that everyone called the dumbass in the fucking flashbacks would kill Joel? I wouldn't think so. With the scalpel.
I mean, also in the first game, it wasn't guaranteed that Ellie would make a cure.
Yeah, it was a gamble, really.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to.
Yeah, good game, but
good game. With bad story plot.
Yeah.
It's placed all weirdly. Do you have anything last to say, Donovan?
You bitch! The fuck?
Oh my god. Jesus. Do you have any last words, Donovan?
Yeah, you better get ready, nigga, because those last words are ready to spew, bitch. Oh, fucking teleport me back, huh?
Abby part wasn't needed.
also, before,
Yeah,
do you think
it.
they're gonna release another game, or like something that's off?
I have no idea.
Because I just
You
heard
must have
that
that.
I just heard that they're not gonna they don't plan to release any DLC soon, or any DLC at all.
I want multiplayer.